The moment the Prophet ﷺ settled in Medina, and this is the first year of Hijrah, as you know, he arrived in the third month of the lunar calendar, Rabi' al-Awwal. So he immediately started to send expeditions. And these expeditions were small in the number of men, but it had a significant role in sending a message. So the first expedition was Sayf al-Bahr, and it was led by his uncle Hamza ibn Abd al-Muttalib. He headed about 30 men and went to intercept one of the caravans of Quraysh. But they did not have any skirmishes or real fight that resulted in something. The following expedition was Sariyat Rabigh, or the expedition of Rabigh. And Rabigh is a small town. Nowadays, it is the miqat for those coming for Umrah or Hajj, and it replaced Al-Juhfa, which is dedicated for those coming from the north, from Syria, from Egypt, and from Europe as well. And this expedition was led by the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, Ubaidah ibn al-Harith ibn Abd al-Muttalib, may Allah be pleased with him. The third expedition was the expedition of Al-Kharrar, and this was again in the first year of Hijrah, and it was led by Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, may Allah be pleased with him, one of the 10 heaven-bound companions. And nothing serious happened. The fourth expedition was the expedition of Al-Abwa or Waddan, and this took place in the second year of Hijrah. So the first 3 expeditions took place in the span of 9 months, immediately after the Prophet ﷺ arrived in Medina. The fourth one was the campaign of Al-Abwa or Waddan, and this was led by the Prophet himself ﷺ. And it was the first for him ﷺ, and the flag bearer was his own uncle Hamza ibn Abd al-Muttalib. The fourth expedition was the expedition of Buwat, and this expedition or campaign was also led by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The final expedition, or the 6th expedition, was known as the expedition of Safwan, or the campaign of Safwan, led by the Prophet ﷺ himself, and it has another name, which is the first campaign of Badr. And this is the first campaign of Badr because we have the Battle of Badr, which took place in the same year, in the second year of Hijrah. Then we have the expedition of Al-Ashira, and also led by the Prophet ﷺ himself. The 8th expedition, this expedition was in the 2nd year of Al-Hijrah, and this was of 12 men only from the Muhajirin. It was led by Abdullah ibn Jahsh, whom the Prophet ﷺ gave him a letter and told him not to open it except after 2 days. So they set off to the destination that they were told by the Prophet ﷺ. And after 2 days, he opened the letter where it gave them directive to what to be done, that they have to go to this specific place to monitor the movement of the caravans coming in and out. And he should tell his companions, the 12 men, about his mission, and that whoever wants to accompany him may proceed, and whoever feel reluctant may go back to Medina. So Abdullah ibn Jahsh, may Allah be pleased with him, did so. And when he informed them of the content of this letter, they said, none of us is reluctant or wants to lag off. We would like also to join you and be part. Maybe we would win the honor of being martyred in the cause of Allah. This was at the last days of the month of Rajab. And as we all know, there are 4 months during the year that are known as the sacred months, which fighting is prohibited to be initiated in it. And this was known to the Arabs since the beginning of time. And it continued in Islam. And these months are the month of the Qa'dah and the Hijjah, the 11th and the 12th month of the lunar or the Hijri calendar, the month of Muharram, which is the first month of the lunar calendar. So 3 months in a row. Then the 7th month of the lunar calendar, which is Rajab. So this expedition took place in the last couple of days of this sacred months. And they happened to meet a caravan coming back to Mecca with goods and money, mostly raisin and some spices. So they differed whether should we proceed and attack them and abduct some of their wealth or not. And Abdullah ibn Jahsh proceeded, may Allah be pleased with him, with his companions, and went ahead and attacked, which resulted in the killing of one of the idol worshippers, Amr ibn al-Hadrami, and he's the first to be killed in the battles between Islam and disbelief. And they captured 2 prisoners of war and took them back to Medina. Now, these expeditions and campaigns seemed in the beginning that it had no purpose, while it had huge purpose and target behind them. Remember that the Prophet ﷺ and his companions were persecuted for 13 years in Mecca for nothing, just simply to worship Allah alone and to call others to join in. So now, after Allah has given them their freedom, honor, and dignity, it was payback time. And the most thing that hurts Quraysh is their wealth. So, in order to punish Quraysh for their transgression and oppression, the Prophet ﷺ targeted their commercial caravans coming from Syria back to Quraysh. And it had all their wealth and everything that they depended on. So this was one of the main reasons. Along with that, the Muslims had to do reconnaissance. So these expeditions and campaigns were with the objective of knowing what surrounds you. And this helped a lot. For example, in the Battle of Uhud, in the Battle of Badr, when the Prophet ﷺ and his companions had an idea of the terrain, the type of soil, the mountains, and where it would be best to be positioned when fighting an army. Also, there was an important role for these expeditions and campaigns, that a message was sent to all the tribes and the nomads and the Bedouins around Medina, that there is now a force to be reckoned with, so that they would not feel that it is an easy prey to attack. The Muslims are not. Medina is not. And one of the expeditions was to counter for an attack of a small tribe of Jabir ibn Qurs al-Fihri, who tried to invade or to capture the herds of charity in a sanctuary that was next to Medina, where the Prophet would put the camels, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that was giving in zakat or in charity. And this was for Allah Azza wa Jal, and to be given to the poor and to the needy. So this man, alongside with some of his tribesmen, raided this herd and fled. So again, the Prophet went with a group of men, alayhi salam, to pursue this person or people and to punish them for what they had done. And after that campaign, people recognized that this was a force to be reckoned with, and they stopped such attempts. The message was also sent to the Jews in Medina and to the hypocrites who were pretending to be Muslims, that this is the strength of real Islam and that you should not mess about. In this time, it was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, especially after the expedition of Abdullah ibn Jahsh, it was revealed that fighting now in the cause of Allah is legitimate. Where Allah Azza wa Jal said, fight in the way of Allah those who fight you, but do not transgress. Indeed, Allah does not like transgressors. So this initiated the beginning of the phase of fighting for the cause of Allah, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد.